So we got Lil Baby. If you haven't hit that notification bell or that like button, make sure that you do if you enjoy the content. So I think the last thing we end up leaving off of, when it comes to Lil Baby, was basically him being on Lil Yachty's podcast, and he was basically saying that there's no more 4PF on anything, not the label, no more branding or anything like that for 4PF, because he felt like the situation that happened with Young Thug, happened with Wife and Lucci, and a lot of other people that happened in Fulton County. So he was feeling some type of way about that. So he not trying to label anything like that, so they won't have nothing on him, so they can't say 4PF is a gang, anybody's affiliated, and he can actually get indicted. So that was pretty much the last of it. It seemed like Lil Baby was being smart in this situation.
Right. And of course, 4 Pockets 4 had to come to an end. You know what I'm saying?
When you say of course, I mean, why you say of course?
Because all that be going on, and I had to start learning that like other people actions I could be held accountable for.
Right.
I ain't know all that at first. You know what I'm saying? I never would have went that route, but I ain't know. You know what I'm saying? Now that I know, I'd be a fool to just keep the same thing going.
And then after Fulton, County ended up dropping the ball on Young Thug, it seemed like the whole situation was, calmed down. They're not even going to be looking for nobody, for a while. But it seemed like that's over with, because it seemed like a department or a special gang unit has been looking into doing it. So they're trying to get everything together for, it says OMF, and they're also trying to, drag Lil Baby into it as well. So I don't know if they just, found some affiliates and still trying to wrap them into it, because, 4PF is no longer a thing. So they're just trying to probably find some loopholes and stuff like that.
Reputed journalist, his name is George Cheedy. Like, he was the person who was very accurate on predicting that YSL was going to get indicted in the RICO. So the unit that specializes on gang cases says the office is actively preparing for a racketeering indictment on the 4PF and OMF case. Now, I don't know what OMF is, and that he expects Lil Baby to be indicted, among others.
And to be honest, I feel like if this is true, this gonna be the worst of it. I feel like after the whole situation with Young Thug, they end up messing that up. I feel like they not gonna come after another case unless they got everything down, everything pretty much perfect, and they know they can actually do this. So I feel like they gonna try to prove themselves this time, and that's not good for Lil Baby. So I don't know if you're gonna make it out of this one, if this is actually true that they are actually pursuing Lil Baby in this whole situation. But I also end up seeing something else. I guess they end up having like a court hearing with some of the people about this situation, and it seemed like they talking about Lil Baby putting tickets on people, and I guess that's sending out hits and paying stuff like that. So that's kind of crazy. If they actually got some evidence and they could put everything together, all the gang stuff is pretty much over with for Lil Baby. So hopefully that's not the case, but y'all let me know in the comment section how you feel about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.